Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Good evening and welcome to Ways Prime Time. My name is Choma Kalu, and tonight we're going to have a very interesting conversation, not one that's strange, but one that we've always had on this table, right? And we're talking about ASUU and their incident strikes. So yesterday we saw a dramatic turn in Nigeria's education crisis. Yes, I call it crisis because that's what it is. So ASUU announced that they have suspended their 2-week warning strike effective Wednesday, the 22nd day of October 2025. Now, the union says the decision comes after renewed negotiations with government representatives and the intervention of Senate committees, but it cautions that if the government fails to meet its demand within 1 month, it will resume industrial action without further notice. Now, the stakes are high. Students who are, what we call the collateral damage of academic shutdowns, now they breathe a collective sigh of relief, but they're only breathing cautiously because we don't even know what to expect. The core issues remain: stalled implementation of, the 2009 ASUU FGN agreement, infrastructure neglect, unpaid allowances, and funding deficits in our public universities. So, tonight my conversation is majorly on a concern and not questions. I don't know how to put this, but I'm wondering now, this suspension of this strike, is it a window for a dialogue or a delayed showdown, right? Are we expecting another, long month of strike? I don't know, but that's what we're talking about. Now, remember the Ways is all about you, as you are the why you Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single day. Add your voice to the discussions. You can head on now to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, and invite your friends and family to join the show now. When I open my phone lines, I'd really love to hear your say on this topic. And as always, here is a quote for today for you to ponder on. It says, "The future belongs to the nation that treats its teachers as builders, not as beggars." And this was said by the iconic Chinua Achebe. We'll go into all of this as it's, touches on our conversation for tonight. But before then, I'll go on a quick break. And when I come back, I'll take you through my news interest for the day. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the suspension of the 2 weeks ASUU strike. and we're trying to find out, is it going to yield a fruitful dialogue, or this is just a way of delaying the showdown that is yet to happen? And just before we get into that conversation, I'll take you through the stories that caught my eye today. And the first on the list is something about Dangote Cement. Dangote, you know, the whole company. Now, it says truck loaded with Dangote Cement crushes pregnant woman, child, and 6 others in Ondo State. A very sad one. The story says a pregnant woman, mother, and her child on Wednesday night lost their lives alongside 6 others in a fatal road crash that occurred in the university community of Akoko South West local government area of Ondo State, involving a cement-laden truck. Now, the horrifying accident occurred around 8 p.m., a few meters from the gate of Adekunle adjacent University at Akoko and the popular Holy Trinity Church. The truck loaded with Dangote cement, which was in transit through the community from Obajana in Kogi State, allegedly suffered brake failure before ramming into traders and other road users in the densely populated area of the community. Infuriated by the incident, enraged sympathizers blamed the accident on the removal of the barricade earlier mounted to prevent articulated vehicles from accessing the community. The sympathizers who thronged the accident scene lamented that the tragedy has brought back painful memories of previous accidents in the area, which claimed many lives over the years. While confirming the incident, the sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps in the state, Ibitoye, stated that 8 people lost their lives in the accident. This is such a sad story, really. Very, very sad. And I don't even know why I started with this story, but I highlighted the story because for the past few months, there's been a conversation about Dangote trucks, right? The one that killed the celebrity's sister, the one that hits, in different communities. And I'm asking, what is the vetting process? How do we vet these people that drive these trucks? Secondly, how do we also vet the condition of these trucks? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. Why do we always have to? And it's always Dangote truck. Of course, understandably, Aliko Dangote is not going to be the one handling recruitment and all of this and all of that. But I think proper details should be involved in these things. We can't be letting go. It's not a situation of, oh, you kill somebody, and then, of course, I will compensate the family because you have money. It's beyond that. First of all, we need to look into this. It doesn't make any sense. We cannot be having Dangote, make a good impression when it comes to the refinery. But then when it comes to your trucks on the road, we are hearing something absolutely negative. My condolences to the families of these people that died, but like I always say, some of these deaths, if not most of them, can be very, very, very much avoidable. We can avoid them. We can avoid them. And also, I would say, if you're walking on the road these days, you better be on the lookout for yourself, because you don't even know when a car will ram into who, right? This is really sad. But anyway, moving forward, my second story of interest, still on Dangote, but of course on a good light now. Dangote reveals plans to more than double 650,000 BPD oil refinery to 1.4 million BPD. Now, the story says the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote refinery is set to more than double its current refinery capacity to about 1.4 million BPD, becoming the world's largest refining facility and surpassing the 1.36 million BPD refinery in Jamnagar, India. Now, the president and founder of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, told S&P Global Commodity Insights in an interview that the management of the $20 billion refining and petrochemical complex is also thinking of altering its current business model and is set to list up to 10% of its shares by next year. Excuse me. According to the 68-year-old founder, although the ambition is to develop African energy, independence is a Herculean task. It remains a labor of love. Now, I must commend Dangote, honestly, when it comes to his refinery. Absolutely. Such a great job he's been doing. Such a great job. And this is him making progress, doubling it, if I'm more than doubling it. It's something impressive to see. Anyway, moving forward, let's go to our last story for the day. It says, advertising INEC chair's vacancy for people to apply will justify its independence. And this was said by Falana. Now, the story says, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has said that a thorough process for the selection of the chairman of INEC will go a long way to make the body free from external control. Falana said that advertising the vacant position of members of the Electoral Commission and resident electoral commissioners as recommended by the Justice Mohammed Lawal Owais in 2008 would justify the independence of INEC. Now, according to him, such a process was already in place in African countries. He said what other countries in Africa have done, Lesotho, Botswana, and the rest of them, is to put in place a mechanism whereby vacant positions in the electoral bodies are advertised. And this was the recommendation of a wise panel as far back as 2008, that in choosing members of the Electoral Commission and resident electoral commissioners, we should advertise the position. Now, his position comes amid concerns over the ability of INEC to conduct transparent and fair elections without interference. This has been something we've been calling for over and over. Now, Amu Piton has been elected or appointed. He was sworn in by the president today, and congratulations to him. But like we always say, can you people show us the process of picking these people? Can you even tell us the people that, were, what do I call it, that were qualified enough that you picked from? Let's have these details. These people are coming to serve us as a nation, serve us as the citizens of Nigeria. You don't impose them on us, because that's what it is, right? You don't pick somebody you think by yourself that, okay, this person is the one that is qualified. You're not consulting us that are the people you're coming to serve. You're bringing the person, you're telling us as a matter of fact that this person is the person that would stay here. So that's it, right? It doesn't make any sense. And I think I agree with the lawyer now. You don't just do that, right? I think it's wrong. I think it should be reconsidered. I think we should have a say at least, to ensure that clause of independence that the commission has to its name. Because for what it's worth, it is not independent if we don't have that say of election. It is not independent if you still have to appoint somebody to head the commission. Because whether you like it or not, there is a trace of loyalty that would come to play. Because like we always say here, it is who pays the piper that dictates the tune, whether we agree or not, whether we want to act oblivious to that fact or not. That's how it is. So on this one, I'm with Falana, and I think it's something we have to, amidst all of the reforms that we're trying to do, all the new laws that we're bringing in and all of that, I think we should consider this. I think this is going to be a great step to restoring voter trust in the nation. Anyway, that's all the story that caught my interest today. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll dive into our topic for tonight. Stay with us.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we will bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the ASUU and their suspension of the warning strike, and we're asking if it's a window for a dialogue or an absolute showdown. Anyway, let's hear what you have to say on this matter. Remember, you can join the conversation by sending me an SMS or WhatsApp to 0818-038-4663. Also, the phone lines are open. You can call on 070-2500-7749 and also on 070-1424-2420. Let's hear what you have to say. Now, suspensions are tricky, right? Suspension in any regard you want to look at it. They can be moments of compromise, but they can also be of deception, to be very honest. So, you see, by pausing this warning strike, ASUU has given the federal government a whole 1 month window, to deliver on demands that many say have been, ignored for years. But what does progress really mean? Renewed talks alone, it does not guarantee implementation. That you are talking and talking and talking, it doesn't change a thing. Because now the federal government has this pattern of inviting you to the table and all that, right? Anyway, and then again, there's this aspect of, no work, no pay rhetoric, before. The government's credibility is really under scrutiny at this point, right? Because this same government that you're reasoning with, and some people say, oh, no work, no pay, which, by the way, according to labor laws, justifiable. Right? Of course, if you don't work, that's it. But considering the state they've subjected you as a union to, it doesn't make any sense, right? Now, the question now is, will this window be used for action or just public, PR, public relations? I'm not going to be doing this by myself. To help us analyze and all of these things and what it means, especially for students, the lecturers, public universities. I have joining me Eniola Orowole. I hope I got that right. NANS National PRO. Thank you for joining us, Eniola.
Okay, good evening. My name is Eniola Orowole.
Orowole, thank you so much for correcting that.
Orowole.
All right. So let's dive into this real quickly, right? In your view, what's real gains do you think ASUU gets from this suspension? What are you looking at? What do you think is their benefit for suspending this strike? And what are the risks of stepping down now?
Well, I have to first of all appreciate you for bringing me in on the show, and right. I want to apologize for coming very late. Yeah,
that's okay.
I'm actually very busy. I have to just maneuver. Yeah, please. What ASUU and the students? You are not talking about the students. You're talking about ASUU.
Well, all encompassing now.
Yeah. The students are always at the receiving end.
Yeah.
In any action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any strike action. And it's very unfortunate. The master's degree student at Adekunle University at Kumbapoko I'm supposed to, present, do my presentation about a month ago. I couldn't do that because of the ASUU strike. And so many students all over Nigeria are suffering from this menace. It has been a perennial menace happening every year over the years.
Yeah.
So I think ASUU has taken a very considerable step by suspending the strike for 2 weeks, giving the federal government an opportunity to, put themselves together and come out with a reasonable, table for us to, agree. And I want to believe, I have confidence, I don't want to downplay the actions of ASUU and the federal government. I want to believe very strongly that the federal government will utilize this very minimum period of time to, see to the demand of the ASUU and the students. Because yes, I want to believe it will work. Don't let us preempt this opportunity the ASUU give to the federal government. I personally believe it's going to work out, and I want to challenge the federal government once again, especially the Minister of Education, who has been working along the time to make sure this strike doesn't last this long. So I want to believe it's going to work out. Yeah, that's all.
So how much faith do you think the students and parents, can put in ASUU? I mean, in this 1 month window, how much faith can the students and parents place in a 1 month window now? For a sector that we know, there's a pattern of broken promises with the federal government. So talking from the view of the students now, and of course your parents, how much faith do you have in this 1 month window that we have?
As a parent or as a student? I can't get it.
Both as a parent and both as a student as well. How much faith do you have in this 1 month window?
I've just told you that I have so much confidence in this window that is going to work out. Various meetings are underway. Many meetings have been held. I think very soon, I think early next week, there will be a meeting again. And I have so much confidence in the window. It's going to work out. Let's be optimistic. You don't need to be too pessimistic.
Right.
Most of the times in Nigeria, let's express optimism and let's continue to express the optimism and challenge the federal government to utilize this window so that all this is unnecessary. And I always say this on this show, that all this action, strike action and the like, project of certificates and all of that, it's casting aspersion on the credibility of our certificates when we go outside the country. Right. We are facing about, yes. Some people will have their BSc, and when they get outside there, they can't use it. They have to jettison it, go for another training just to, it's casting a lot of aspersion on our certificate, and it's very unfortunate. So we have to step up this country, yeah.
So I want you to speak towards the side of ASUU now, right? No work, no pay is already in play, of course, right? Will that enforcement, or will the enforcement of that policy weaken ASUU's bargaining power, or will it force sincerity from the government?
ASUU cannot be forced. The government cannot. It's just a threat, actually. They have issued that kind of threat before. It's just a threat, a mere threat. It cannot work, and it's very, very despicable. I want to employ the federal government, especially the Minister of Education, that it should jettison this. Is very atavistic. It's outdated. No work, no peace, outdated. It shouldn't work in this modern society again. It doesn't work, and it cannot work. It's just a threat.
So, what does it tell me? Personal experiences. What does it feel like to be caught in the web of these incessant strikes as a student?
Just told you. When I studied biology education at the Federal University of Akwa State. I spent almost 7 years to get my BSc.
Wow.
Very unfortunate. Yeah, almost 7 years. I can see this. Yeah, very unfortunate. And that is why people drop to private universities and they are making it big. The owners of those private universities are making it big, and the federal government cannot fund the universities because of poor infrastructure, poor condition of services for the lecturers and all those things. So it doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Like, you can imagine, I'm supposed to have finished the master's degree program since last year. All this back and forth. It elongates someone's life, and you know, when you see your mates are abroad, they just traveled to UK last year, they have just started their PhD. You know, you feel dejected as a human being, and as a Nigerian in particular.
It's quite sad. But now we have student unions in the universities, right? How do you think they can play stronger roles in holding the government accountable? Because, I mean, if they're not listening to ASUU, do you think somehow they would listen to you people? What stronger role do you think the student unions can play in this whole negotiation?
Unfortunately, most of the time, we are not being called on the table when all these are taking place. And it's part of the deficiencies of those, of those agreements, the 209 agreements, this and that. There's a Yoruba adage. There's a Yoruba adage that used to say, Can you hear?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, please.
It's like they are begging the doctor. They are not begging the person that want to use the drug at the hospital. Can you get me?
Yes.
So the students are not being carried along. I'm sorry for the background. I mean, I have to just make
Go ahead. No problem.
Please. The students are not being carried along, and it's affecting us very, very bad. Very, very bad. Yes, we need to come on. In fact, I still want to employ the Minister of Education to please carry us along with this negotiation, and so that the negotiation can be complete, go on strike again. Because there are some inputs, the National Association of Nigerian Students can actually bring on the table that can help matters. But it's very unfortunate they are not calling us, and they're not calling us, and I mean, very unfortunate once again.
It is really sad because, like you rightly pointed out, you students are the ones at the receiving end. You cannot. So as much as it touches ASUU as the union, it also touches you as the one at the receiving end, because, like we always say, when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers, and in this case, the grass is the students, right? So it's quite unfortunate. I used to think that there was a time when NANS used to be represented in these negotiations, right? I used to think at some point they were involved. Now, but I'm wondering now, if the window ends without results, resumptions of strike, it seemed very, very, almost inevitable, right? So how do you think, what plans do you want to see ASUU put in place, right, for this particular, because it looks like it will get escalated. So what would you want to see ASUU do in order for the students not to suffer so much? What would be your call to them?
Well, I've told you before, I don't want to be pessimistic about this window. I don't want to be pessimistic.
Well, we're weighing the both. We're striking a balance. We're weighing the both possibilities. I understand you're trying to be very optimistic, but on the other end,
I want to advise us to be more, to have a more robust synergy with the federal government, especially the Minister of Education. I want them to shed their sword, to shift ground. You cannot achieve everything all the time. Sometimes you need to think about children in the public schools. You need to think about the parents itself. The allocation of period of time for education, for academics, it doesn't work. So I want us to shift ground. I want the federal government to shift ground. I want them to arrive at a middle ground so that we.
Okay. Eniola, we're going to go on a short break. We'll just go on a short break, right? And then we'll come back and continue this conversation. I believe your network will get stronger by the time we get back. Please stay with us.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the just suspended ASUU warning strike. And of course, ASUU has given the federal government a 1-month window to meet up with their demands, right? This is, I mean, something we've seen that is very reoccurring. And we hope, we're trying to be optimistic that this yields a very positive result. And I have a representative from NANS, Eniola. Are you still with us, sir?
I'm with you, definitely.
Oh, great. Thank you. So, still moving on, still talking about this, you know, we have seen all of these things happen over and over. We've even seen some students migrating to maybe either abroad or moving to a private school. How do you think this reoccurring strikes have affected, you know, the quality of learning and the campus life overall?
I've just told you earlier on that people are dropping to private universities.
Yes, I heard that. I'm asking, did the quality of learning change?
Of course, yes, it will. There are a lot of distractions. You know, a lot of distractions. People will be following a very strict curriculum. Suddenly, you just wake up and hear that ASUU is on strike. You can't go to lecture room. You can't go for test. You can't go for examination. Sometimes you read for examination. You know, at the end of the day, they will suspend the examination. How will you cope with that? There are a lot of distractions that they are affecting the quality of education in Nigeria. And unfortunately, our neighboring countries and the Europeans, Americans, they are taking note of the distraction that is happening in the academic calendar in Nigeria. They no longer trust our educational system again. So, and if you continue like this, in fact, I don't want to describe what our certificate can be like in the nearest future. Let us keep that aside. But it's very unfortunate. These distractions are too much, and it's too much. To say the least.
Okay.
Too much.
So I mean,
we have to.
Yeah, I strongly believe NANS should be on that table of negotiation, actually. But I mean, you're not. So speak to me like you are right now, okay? Some people argue that this thing has something to do with political optics, you know, ahead of 2027 elections. How might, you know, the electoral politics shape ASUU's tactics and, you know, the government's response? What do you think?
Come again, please. I can't hear you very well.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I asked, what do you think? A lot of people might think, oh, that there's a political undertone to all of this in and out of ASUU demands and the government responses. So, yeah, what do you have to say to that?
No. That is where we are getting it wrong.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
We're getting it wrong. Like have been on our table for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Has been on the Nigerian table for many years. It is very, very, unfortunate that we will be mixing education with politics, and that is what is underrating our certificates. How can you say ASUU strike is political when lecturers are not being paid, subventions are not being paid to the schools, they cannot, infrastructure are very poor. Is that politics? No, these are real issues. These are issue-based arguments. It is not politics at all. But federal government used to politicize this. They are polarized. They try to polarize NAS. They try to polarize ASUU. They try to polarize a lot of groups like that are questioning them, and it's very, very bad, and it's affecting us. They have to change, and we by Monday are going to write a letter to the Minister of Education.
Okay.
So that the subsequent negotiation should include the NAS, and I will tell them that if NAS is being excluded perpetually in their negotiation, there will be perennial problem, and it's not going to end. Yeah. As NAS has a very pivotal role to play in that negotiation.
But have you ever been invited for any of these negotiations over the years?
I just assume office very early this year.
Okay, I mean, for the past people, do you think?
Yeah. Sometimes they do that, but I want them to see the need to do it more now.
Okay, and yeah. How can civil societies play a role in demanding this accountability? Because everybody has a role. You've told me, how the students can come in, how this and that. Civil societies also have a role to play, right? How can they monitor compliance and demand accountability now?
I've told you that synergy is very, very important. When ASUU call up strike today, civil society issue statement tomorrow, and next tomorrow another civil society come out. If you can synergize together, cooperate together, at the end of the day, we will achieve the civil society should cooperate, synergize, affiliate, not affiliate, cooperate with the ASUU and.
Eniola, are you there? Are you there? Anyway, just while we wait for him to come back, I really do understand his plight as a Nigerian student, right? Every Nigerian student is asking, like, sometimes they are called collateral damage, and it's really sad. It goes to show the level of value we attach to education in this nation. And yeah, maybe he might say, and Yola has rightly said, of course, that, he doesn't think there's a political undertone. But sometimes it doesn't have to be as seriously political as ADC, APC, and the likes of them, right? It could just be about who's in the seats, who's in power, right? So I think all of these things are all intertwined, right? Like I said, it's beyond coming to say, okay, we are suspending the strike. They're ready to listen to us. Remember that previously, I think about last week, they told us that, we're going on this strike because the federal government didn't show up for negotiation. Federal government said, we didn't show up because we called you the last time and you didn't want to speak to us. So it's just been back and forth. Now, Chris says, that's the head of the ASUU union, he said, the president rather, he said, okay, now we're ready to listen to you. After all, first of all, he had already said that the federal government didn't show up, and then they sent a WhatsApp message with the documents and all. It was just a very not pleasant process. And now, after you know, you said you've spoken, and now you said, oh, they're ready now to meet a demand you've been asking for since 2009. That's some confidence you have right there, I must say. That's some confidence you have right there. And in all honesty, I really do hope this works. I really do hope this works. Okay, Eniola, you're back. So I was going to ask you, right, what's it called now? If the government acts swiftly within the month, and first of all, let me even ask you, what do you think about the educational structure sector in Nigeria? How would you rate it, from the nursery to the university, and however it's been run? What do you think?
I don't want to condemn the education system in Nigeria in totality, but we still have a very long way to go. A very long way. Yeah, recently you heard that they just excluded mathematics from JAM or so. You can see people have been offering, some people failed JAM. They couldn't gain admission on time because of mathematics. You know, that is very unnecessary. There are a lot of courses that we are still offering, that they are still offering in our higher institutions, in the universities, that are outdated, that are, you know, obsolete, that need to be changed. Yes, a lot of courses like that. I don't want to mention, I won't cast aspersion on some courses, but we'll put that into writing as I've been doing before, you know, but we still have a long way to go. The Ministry of Education need to do more. They need to do.
Anyway, so now, of course, you've said they need to do more. Finally, just before we let you go, right? If the government, of course, acts swiftly and within this 1 month window, they meet these core demands that ASUU have been clamoring for, do you think that that moment will sort of reset the recurring cycle, or will it just be another pause? What do you think? I know you're being optimistic. I know you are, but once that is done, do you think we are going to be envisioning a reset in the university structure?
To be honest, this structural restructuring negotiation is a continuous process. Okay. It's not something that happened in a day. It's not a problem that occurred in a day. Yeah. It's an accumulation of problems over the years. So it cannot be solved within a day. It's going to be a continuous process. They're going to solve some, maybe 100%, they're going to solve like 30%, 40, 50, it's a gradual process. I want to employ, I want to persuade, I want to beg ASUU to please, for God's sake, you know, think about the students that are languishing in their homes, want to come back to school, you know, that couldn't do that. You have to consider them so that they can shift ground a little bit, so that all this mess can be cleared. Thank you very much.
And on the end of the students, what would be your call to them?
Yeah, I want students to be, you know, patient with the system. This is a systemic problem, not the lecturers, not even the Minister of Education. The systemic problem, and it can't be fixed in a day. I urge my fellow students to be patient, to read while they are at home, not to allow the strike to weigh them down, and I wish them the very best of luck.
All right, thank you very much, Eniola. That's all the time we have with you. Thank you for contributing tonight. So I mean, we've heard him speak, and I think Eniola was being very, very nice. he was being very careful. But anyway, you see, suspending a strike doesn't end the struggle. It just reprioritizes it. And ASUU has signaled a willingness to negotiate, and the government must now show willingness to deliver, because this talk is becoming plenty. If it fails, students, lecturers, and, you know, the soul of the public, everybody just pays the higher price again. So this 1 month we have is a test of credibility, of political will, and of whether we can break free from recurring stalemates. Because Nigeria's university cannot wait for another next time. We can't wait for, okay, next time again. And so I don't want to be pessimistic. I don't want to be pessimistic right here, but we've seen this thing happen over. It's just as though we're having a deja vu. It's happening over and over again. They're, oh, they are ready now. Oh, they are very solemn and very ready. And then they come back again. And then they don't. It's just like NLC and the government as well. They don't meet at anything, and then they'll declare another strike the students are exhausted, right? You're seeing parents work on a lot of shifts, picking up extra incomes just so they move their children from these federal schools to somewhere else they know that these things don't exist. Anyway, we do pray for the best while we hope for whatever it is they do. We hope that this comes out successful this time, because ASUU needs all they're demanding. They're not asking for too much. They're asking for what is due them. Imagine from 2009. And the students don't deserve this back and forth, right? So we call on the federal government today to do what they need to do so that everybody can be happy. You cannot be treating teachers as though they are beggars in this community, in this niche, in this society. I don't even know which we are. But anyway, before we go, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Drop a comment, like, share, follow all our social media engagements. And if you missed our quote earlier, here it is. It says, the future belongs to the nation that treats its teachers as builders, not as beggars. And this was said by our very own iconic Chinua Achebe. My name is Choma, and this has been Ways Prime Time. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.